A massive 3-year police operation has delivered a devastating blow to the Comanchero gang across New Zealand. Nearly all of its members and associates, over 40 people, now face criminal charges. In one decisive strike, New Zealand police have captured the last senior Comanchero leader, the man at the center of it all, accused of trafficking hundreds of kilograms of methamphetamine and cocaine, is now behind bars. After nearly 140 charges and 3 relentless years of raids, the once powerful gang empire stands shaken to its core. The pressing question now is, what happens to New Zealand's criminal underworld when its leadership collapses? Background: the rise of the Comanchero. The Comanchero Motorcycle Club did not begin in New Zealand. It was founded in Sydney, Australia in 1966. At first, it was one of many outlaw motorcycle groups, but by the 1980s it had gained a reputation for violence and organization, particularly after its bloody conflicts with the bandidos. One of these clashes, the infamous Milpera massacre, left 7 people dead, including a 14-year-old girl. That tragedy cemented the Comancheros' image as ruthless and fearless, built for crime. Over the years, the club expanded rapidly across Australia and into parts of Southeast Asia. Their most aggressive growth began around 2016 when they established a New Zealand chapter. The Comancheros didn't come to blend in, they came to dominate. Within a few years, they built a major criminal operation, marked by luxury cars, expensive homes, and a reputation for violence. Authorities allege the group wasn't just dealing drugs, they were importing meth and cocaine, laundering millions of dollars, and training members in military-style tactics. Police describe them not as a gang, but as a full-fledged criminal enterprise. The Port of Tauranga heist. In December 2024, a shocking daylight crime unfolded at New Zealand's busiest port, Tauranga. 2 men broke into a secured shipping container, pried it open, and loaded 5 suitcases into a car. Inside, 200 kilograms of methamphetamine, the largest meth bust in New Zealand's history. Customs officers had already flagged the container during a routine X-ray inspection, alerting law enforcement. As the suspects fled, police deployed road spikes and arrested them within minutes. Inside the suitcases, officers found not just drugs, but gloves and tools used to cut into the container, proving the theft was carefully planned. The key question: how did the thieves know exactly which container to target? Investigators suspect an insider within the port provided key information. 2 more suspects were later arrested, bringing the total to 4 men charged with drug importation, burglary, and possession of criminal tools. The 200 kilograms of meth represented about 10 million street-level doses, worth roughly $75 million. Experts estimated the social harm from this single shipment at over $200 million. Authorities say the case revealed serious vulnerabilities in port security. Despite advanced surveillance, organized crime groups are increasingly exploiting insider help and weak checkpoints. Police called the bust a major disruption to the national meth supply, particularly in regions like the Bay of Plenty. The 3-year crackdown. Between 2021 and late 2024, New Zealand police carried out a sustained multi-phase campaign to dismantle the Comanchero network. The investigation included 4 major operations: Avon, Scuba, Embargo, and Bridle, each targeting a different part of the gang's empire. Operation Scuba struck first, exposing money laundering schemes that funneled profits into property, vehicles, and other assets. Authorities froze more than $5.8 million, including luxury cars, real estate, and Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Operation Avon hit the gang's regional chapters head-on, leading to dozens of arrests and the seizure of drugs, firearms, cash, and nearly $2 million in assets. Operation Embargo uncovered a structured commission system. Gang members were required to pay thousands of dollars per kilogram of drugs sold. The funds supported training, property purchases, and weapons. Investigators even discovered that a foreign trainer had been hired to instruct members in combat tactics. Operation Bridle connected the December Port of Tauranga heist directly to senior Comanchero figures, implicating them in organized international drug trafficking. In total, 137 criminal charges were filed. The coordinated raids effectively dismantled the gang's leadership and crippled its command structure. The final arrest. On April 9, 2025, in the quiet Auckland suburb of Howick, police arrested the last senior Comanchero leader, the national vice president, age 36. He is accused of organizing the massive meth importation through Tauranga and coordinating a separate cocaine shipment earlier that year. His charges include methamphetamine importation, attempted cocaine possession for supply, and participation in an organized criminal group. Law enforcement officials described the arrest as a turning point, marking the complete collapse of the gang's upper command. With every major leader now facing charges, investigators believe the Comancheros' operations have been severely disrupted. No more central planning, no more coordinated smuggling, and no more leadership structure. The 3-year investigation unfolded like a crime thriller, from uncovering hidden financial networks to dismantling local chapters, exposing internal funding systems, and finally bringing down the top command. It stands as one of the most extensive anti-gang operations in New Zealand's history. The arrest of the Comanchero vice president was far more than a local takedown. It opened the door to a global story, a story of international drug routes, encrypted communication systems, and transnational crime networks operating with the precision of major corporations. Authorities say this senior gang figure didn't limit his operations to New Zealand. His network stretched across continents, from drug suppliers in South America to contacts in Southeast Asia and Australia. He played a central role in coordinating massive drug shipments into the country. The ports were in New Zealand, but the planning was global. Shipments were organized overseas, packaged to avoid detection, and scheduled with insider help to ensure smooth passage. This level of coordination shows just how advanced modern organized crime has become. These aren't street-level operations. They function like international businesses, built on global supply chains, encrypted communication, and financial networks. The Comancheros were part of a much larger web of criminal enterprise that law enforcement agencies had been tracking for years. To understand the scale, it helps to look back at an earlier international sting operation. A few years ago, global police forces launched a massive undercover operation using a fake encrypted messaging app. Criminals across dozens of countries unknowingly used the app to discuss drug shipments, arms deals, and even assassinations. Thousands of messages were intercepted, leading to hundreds of arrests and exposing the inner workings of numerous gangs, including the Comancheros. One senior gang member was caught in that operation. His encrypted messages detailed drug movements, cash pickups, and logistics planning. When police raided his properties, they found methamphetamine, firearms, and large amounts of cash, proving the gang's deep involvement in international trafficking. The recent arrest in Auckland follows that same thread. Authorities believe the man helped coordinate a major methamphetamine shipment and attempted to import cocaine. But what stands out most is not just the drugs, it's the structure. This was not a street crime. It was logistics, coordination with shipping companies, contacts at foreign ports, and precise timing of container arrivals. The arrested man is believed to have been a central figure, a key coordinator who passed information and gave instructions while keeping his own hands clean. That's the hallmark of modern organized crime: professional, discreet, and often operating in plain sight. Technology has made this even more dangerous. Encrypted phones, disappearing messages, and burner devices allow gangs to communicate instantly and securely across borders. Yet recent operations have proven that even encrypted networks can be breached, and when they are, entire criminal organizations can fall overnight. The Comancheros' activities also extend far beyond New Zealand. In Australia, they've been linked to large-scale cocaine and heroin imports. Members have used legitimate businesses, bike shops, gyms, and financial services to launder illegal profits. In Southeast Asia, they've worked to expand their influence, forming alliances with local traffickers. So this isn't just about one man in Auckland, it's about a vast global network. Every arrest is another piece of a much larger puzzle, showing how today's gangs use modern technology to commit ancient crimes: drug trafficking, money laundering, bribery, all on an international scale. But the recent arrest also shows how law enforcement is catching up. With stronger international cooperation, better intelligence sharing, and advanced digital tools, police forces are beginning to turn the tide. Once considered untouchable, the Comancheros are now watching their empire collapse one arrest at a time. Impact on organized crime in New Zealand. With nearly all senior leaders of the Comancheros now facing criminal charges, their grip on New Zealand's underworld has been severely weakened. For years, the gang maintained a powerful and organized network, but a series of major police operations have struck directly at their leadership, finances, training, and drug distribution systems. The result? Their ability to coordinate large-scale criminal activity has been drastically reduced. But a power vacuum raises new questions. Who will fill the gap? When a dominant gang falls, others often move in. There's speculation that groups like the Mongrel Mob or Filthy Few could try to seize control. However, today's law enforcement agencies are far more prepared and alert, determined to prevent another violent struggle for dominance. Authorities have made it clear any attempt to rebuild or expand gang control will be met with swift action. The broader impact reaches beyond gang politics. With fewer drug shipments entering the country, less money flowing into criminal markets, and reduced access to methamphetamine, many communities may finally feel relief. Families and neighborhoods long damaged by addiction could begin to recover if the drug pipeline remains cut off. Still, major challenges remain, especially at the ports. Organized crime groups continue to exploit weak points, insider corruption, and security gaps. Securing ports with upgraded scanning technology, stronger oversight, and anti-corruption measures is now a top priority. Authorities emphasize that trusted insiders, such as customs staff, port workers, or transport employees, can cause enormous damage if compromised. Criminal groups no longer need weapons at the gate if they have someone on the inside providing access. New Zealand's reputation for institutional integrity remains strong, but recent events reveal vulnerabilities in critical infrastructure zones like ports and border facilities. That's why multi-agency cooperation between police, customs, intelligence, and private port operators is essential. Sharing data, training personnel, and monitoring risk areas are now national priorities. The future of the Comancheros and organized crime. The Comancheros hierarchy is in disarray. Their capacity to manage large drug imports has collapsed. Yet the fight against organized crime is far from over. Criminal groups will adapt, shifting tactics, smaller shipments, new routes, or alternative alliances. Police now have a blueprint for long-term disruption. This operation proved that patient, coordinated investigations can dismantle even the most entrenched criminal networks. It showed that encrypted communications can be cracked, that insider corruption can be exposed, and that sophisticated gangs can fall when law enforcement works smarter and more strategically. The Comancheros are down, but not gone. The battlefield has changed, and the next phase will demand just as much persistence and precision as the last. The key question now is not whether organized crime will evolve, but how prepared authorities will be to stop it. After 3 years of investigation, surveillance, and coordinated strikes, the Comanchero Motorcycle Club in New Zealand has been stripped of its leadership. More than 130 charges have been filed, millions in assets seized, and a once untouchable organization has been dismantled. What began as a small probe into suspicious financial activity evolved into one of New Zealand's most significant anti-gang crackdowns. Police didn't just target street dealers, they went after the strategists, the financiers, and the recruiters who ran the operation like a business. This success required patience, cooperation between multiple agencies, and the courage to take on a global network with deep pockets and violent roots. It's a rare victory, but not the end. Criminal empires rarely vanish, they evolve. Law enforcement now faces the next challenge, ensuring that no new network rises to take the Comancheros' place. The war against organized crime continues, and each victory becomes a lesson, a new playbook for dismantling complex global criminal systems.